There is an expression in the United States that Southerners use with pride, and that those from the north of the country sometimes repeat with a mixture of curiosity and incomprehension. Southern hospitality. Not a tourist concept manufactured for brochures. It is a real way of relating to the stranger, to the visitor, to the one who arrives from far away without knowing the unwritten rules of the place. It is the disposition to offer food before it is asked for, to give directions with more detail than anyone requested, to treat you as if they had known you all their lives from the first moment you walk through the door. And in no city in the American South does that hospitality have the same scale, the same energy, and the same complexity as in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta is a city that has spent decades being many things at the same time. It is the capital of the state of Georgia and the economic center of the American Southeast, with one of the largest concentrations of corporate headquarters in the country. It is the home of Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, the busiest in the world for decades, the transit point through which more flights and more passengers pass than at any other place on the planet. It is the birthplace of the civil rights movement of the 50s and 60s, the place where Martin Luther King Jr. was born and lived, the man who with his words and his peaceful resistance changed the course of American and world history. It is also the city that in the 90s and 2000s produced trap, the hip-hop subgenre that from the recording studios of the Bankhead and Decatur neighborhoods expanded to become the dominant sound of global popular music. And it is, for visitors to the 2026 World Cup, one of the most complete, most unexpected, and most intense experiences that football can offer. The stadium where matches are played is Mercedes-Benz Stadium, officially known during the tournament as Atlanta Stadium. Mercedes-Benz Stadium is the first professional sports venue in the United States to achieve LEED Platinum certification U.S. Department of State, the highest distinction in terms of environmental sustainability. That is not merely a technical detail. It is part of the identity of a stadium conceived from the beginning as something more than a place to watch sports. Opened in 2017, it holds 75,000 people and is the home of the Atlanta Falcons of the NFL and Atlanta United FC of MLS, the city's football club that since its founding in 2017 has built one of the most passionate and most numerous fan bases in the entire American League. Its retractable roof has a shape that resembles a bird's eye when open, with 8 steel petals that close hydraulically, creating one of the most impressive visual experiences of any stadium in the world. And it has something no other stadium in the United States has: a ring-shaped video screen that completely surrounds the interior of the stadium, visible from all seats, creating an immersive experience that supporters who have seen it describe as completely unlike any other stadium they have been in. Atlanta hosts 8 World Cup matches, including 5 group stage matches, a round of 32 match, a round of 16 match, and the semi-final on July 15th. FIFA. That schedule makes Atlanta the second venue with the most matches in the entire tournament after Dallas, and one of the 2 venues hosting semi-finals, which gives it a specific weight in the tournament that few cities can match. The group stage matches are June 15th, Spain against Cape Verde from Group H. June 18th, South Africa against the winner of the Denmark, North Macedonia, Ireland or Czech Republic, playoff from Group A. June 21st, Spain against Saudi Arabia from Group H. June 24th, Morocco against Haiti from Group C. And June 27th, Uzbekistan against the winner of the DR Congo, Jamaica and New Caledonia playoff from Group K. Share America. Spain plays twice in Atlanta. Twice. The Spanish team, which arrives at the 2026 World Cup as one of the great favourites after winning Euro 2024 with a generation of young talent led by Lamine Yamal, is going to have Atlanta as its main group stage. The Hispanic community in Georgia, which in the last 20 years has grown in a way that has completely transformed the character of the region, is going to make those 2 matches have an atmosphere that combines the colour and noise of the Spanish fan base with the energy of a southern city that when it gets excited about something does so without half measures. Morocco against Haiti on June 24th is the most emotionally charged match of all those played in Atlanta. Morocco, with its recent Qatar 2022 history as the first African team to reach a World Cup semi-final against Haiti. The Caribbean country arriving at its first World Cup in decades after overcoming all the adversities the world can put in the path of a nation. The Haitian community in Atlanta, one of the largest in the American Southeast, is going to turn that match into something the city will remember for years. And then there is the semi-final on July 15th. The penultimate match of the tournament, with two of the four best teams in the world competing for a place in the New York final. In Atlanta, with 75,000 people inside the most modern and most technologically advanced stadium in the United States, with the heat of the Georgian summer as context, and with the energy of a city that has been in World Cup mode for an entire month. That match is going to be one of the great moments of world football this century. For getting to Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Atlanta has an important logistical advantage. The stadium is in the city center, steps from the downtown neighborhood, and well connected to Atlanta's metro system, the MARTA. The nearest metro station is CNN Center, about 10 minutes walk from the stadium. MARTA connects Hartsfield-Jackson Airport with the city center efficiently and affordably. And from downtown to the stadium, you can walk if the heat allows, or take the metro one stop. On match days, there will be special transport services, and the Fan Festival at Centennial Olympic Park, steps from the stadium, is going to be the natural meeting point for supporters before and after matches. For accommodation, Atlanta has an extraordinarily wide hotel offer for all budget categories. The downtown neighborhood, closest to the stadium, has a concentration of hotels in all categories, ranging from the historic Omni Atlanta Hotel at CNN Center, literally connected to the stadium by a covered bridge, to more affordable options in the surrounding streets. The Midtown neighborhood, about 20 minutes walk or one metro stop from the stadium, is the most cultural in Atlanta, with the best museums, theaters, and restaurants in the city. The Buckhead neighborhood, the most elegant and most exclusive in Atlanta, has the most important luxury hotels in the region. And the old Fourth Ward neighborhood, which in recent years has become the most creative and most transformed in the city, with the famous Belt Line running through it, has boutique accommodation options that offer a completely different experience from the conventional chain hotel. And now, the part that makes Atlanta a completely unique experience among all the World Cup venues. The historical and cultural depth of a city that has been the stage for some of the most important moments in 20th century American history. The Martin Luther King Jr. National Historical Park is the most important destination in Atlanta and one of the most important in the United States for anyone curious about the history of American civil rights. The complex includes the birthplace of Martin Luther King Jr. on Auburn Avenue, the Ebenezer Baptist Church where he was baptized and where his father preached for years and where he himself officiated several services, and the King Memorial with his tomb alongside that of his wife Coretta Scott King, surrounded by a reflecting pool of running water that the first time you see it leaves you speechless. The visit is free, managed by the U.S. National Park Service, and is the most emotionally powerful experience Atlanta can offer any visitor, regardless of their origin or history. The words of the I Have a Dream speech, delivered in Washington in 1963, but written in the heart and language of Atlanta, resonate differently when you are standing in front of the tomb of the man who spoke them. The National Center for Civil and Human Rights is the perfect complement to the visit to the King Park. A modern and emotionally powerful museum that tells the story of the American civil rights movement and connects it with human rights movements around the world. The most impactful exhibition in the museum invites visitors to sit at a replica lunch counter from the 60s. Put on headphones and experience what the sit-in movement protesters felt when they were insulted and attacked while remaining motionless in peaceful protest. Many visitors cannot complete the experience. That says everything about its power. Centennial Olympic Park is the public park in the heart of downtown Atlanta, built for the 1996 Olympic Games, the last held in the United States before Los Angeles 2028. The park has the famous Olympic Rings fountains, which in summer function as a public pool where children play and adults cool off from the Georgian heat, and is the place where the World Cup Fan Festival is going to operate throughout the tournament. The organising committee's preparations include the Fan Festival at Centennial Olympic Park as the central point of the World Cup experience in the city. Wikipedia. It is going to be the beating heart of the World Cup in Atlanta, the place where supporters from Spain, Morocco, Haiti, South Africa, and all the countries of the world arriving in Georgia in the summer of 2026 are going to cross paths. The Sweet Auburn neighborhood is the historical soul of Atlanta. Auburn Avenue, known as Sweet Auburn, was during the early decades of the 20th century the economic and cultural artery of Atlanta's African American community, the place where the banks, hotels, theaters, and businesses of a community that built its prosperity parallel to a society that legally segregated it were located. The history of Sweet Auburn is the history of African American resilience, of the capacity to build culture and community and wealth in conditions that made it extraordinarily difficult. Walking that street today, with the King Park in the background and the murals that tell the neighborhood's history on the walls, is one of the most meaning-laden experiences of the entire American South. Atlanta's gastronomic scene is one of the most exciting and most diverse in the American South. The city has two specialties you cannot miss. The first is fried chicken. Southern fried chicken that in Atlanta reaches heights of perfection the rest of the world can barely match. There are many reference places, but the most legendary is Busy Bee Cafe on Martin Luther King Jr. Street, a soul food restaurant that has operated since 1947 and has served food to civil rights activists, to presidents, and to millions of ordinary people seeking the kind of honest and generous cooking that only restaurants that have been in the same place for decades can offer. The second specialty is the Georgia peach, the fruit that gives the city and the state one of their most recognizable symbols. Georgia peaches have a reputation that far exceeds any other peach in the world, with a sweetness and texture that those who have tasted them in season do not easily forget. In Atlanta's summer markets, at the stalls of Your DeKalb Farmers Market or Morningside Farmers Market, you find peaches picked the same day that have a flavor no fruit transported from another state can replicate. The Ponce City Market neighborhood is the creative heart of contemporary Atlanta. A former Sears warehouse from the 1920s converted into a food hall market, boutiques, and startup offices that is also the starting point of the Atlanta Beltline, the city's most ambitious urban transformation project. The Beltline is a network of trails and parks built on the tracks of an old belt railway that circles Atlanta's center, perfect for walking, running, or cycling, with views of the city's historic neighborhoods. During the World Cup, the Beltline is going to be Atlanta's World Cup promenade, with special murals, artistic installations, and the mix of supporters from every country in the world that football, when at its best, inevitably produces. Stone Mountain Park, about 30 kilometers east of Atlanta, is the most visited state park in Georgia and has the world's largest exposed granite monolith, with a relief carved on its north face that is the most complex historical controversy in the American South. The park, regardless of the controversy over its relief, has hiking trails, cable cars, a lake, and views of Atlanta on the horizon that on the clear days of the Georgian summer are spectacular. And one more thing you cannot ignore if you go to Atlanta: the music. Atlanta is the musical capital of hip-hop for the last 30 years. From Goody Mob and Outkast in the 90s to Young Jeezy and T.I. and Lil Wayne in the 2000s to Future and Young Thug and Drake in the 10s and 20s, the music that came out of Atlanta's recording studios has defined global popular culture in a way that few cities can claim. The Edgewood Avenue neighborhood, with its live music clubs that operate until 4 in the morning, and Inman Park, with its bars and restaurants where music is always present, are the mandatory nighttime destinations for those who want to hear Atlanta being Atlanta in the summer of 2026. Atlanta is going to be the final episode and the final venue of this journey through the 11 cities of the 2026 World Cup. And if there is one thing that summarizes what Atlanta can offer that no other venue can provide in the same way, it is this: the opportunity to be in a city that knows suffering and knows joy, that has lived history from the inside, and that knows, with the particular wisdom of those who have been through the worst and come out the other side, that the best moments deserve to be celebrated with everything one has. In the summer of 2026, Atlanta is going to celebrate the World Cup with everything it has, with its music, its food, its history, its southern hospitality that receives the stranger as if they were family, and with a semi-final that is going to be, simply, one of the greatest football matches this century has produced. Welcome to Atlanta, the Peach City, the Soul City, the last stop on the World Cup road.